everybody, and welcome in to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. It is Thursday, July 18th, a fantastic Thursday here in the great state of Wisconsin, or wherever you are listening out there. The weather's supposed to be nice. The weather is supposed to be nice and cool, I guess, for the upcoming days here, which isn't a bad thing. We've dealt with heat, humidity, rain, everything you can think of in between there. Finally getting some nice, cool weather to be able to enjoy. So, gotta love it. Gotta love it. Lots of good stuff happening around the world of sports. And, well, we went part one of the Brewers' first half recap yesterday there. Got a lot into the lineup. Today, I want to get more into the pitching staff. I want to look at the pitchers. I want to look at team stats in total, too. I want to look at the Brewers' bats compared to other teams out there in the league. And also, just look around at the pitching staff and see how everybody fared in that first half impressions, who we like, who we don't like. And also, we're getting closer and closer to the trade deadline. Looking at guys I'm not going to speculate guys that the Brewers could trade for. I want to look at guys within the Brewers organization that I believe could be trade bait, who the Brewers may think about moving at some point here. So with that, right away, I want to look at the first thing that I conjured up here. And that was, I saw a post, and that was about Jordan Love, about the Green Bay Packers, and about, if you went back to that draft and had to repick, who would you stick with Jordan Love? Would you have gone for Jordan Love? So I was just going to look back at that draft, see who was taken in that draft ahead of Jordan Love and behind Jordan Love, and kind of just see what we think there. So in that draft, the Packers did select 26th in the NFL draft there. Looking up the line, we saw a lot of big names going. A lot of guys that we know now in the league. You're talking about Joe Burrow, Chase Young, Tua, Justin Herbert. Looking down the line here, we see Jerry Jeudy on there, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Reagor, Justin Jefferson. How would you feel if you were the Eagles? Let's just look at that one first. How would you feel if you were the Philadelphia Eagles and you were drafting 21st and you had your options? You could have gone with Jalen Reagor, or you could have gone with Justin Jefferson. Looking back on it now, you must feel like quite a dink. Quite a dink. That's the best word I could put for it. Quite a dink, because you look at that draft, you say to yourself, man, oh man, what could have been? What could have been? You look, okay, even after that, Brandon Aiyuk. You could have gone Aiyuk, you could have gone Justin Jefferson, you ended up with Jalen Reagor, and, well, we know how that went. Not so well. Not as well as what we're seeing right now out of Justin Jefferson. Now, Brandon Ayuk's a different story. He's not getting there done with the 49ers there in the signing department right now, so he's looking for a trade right now. So different kind of story with Aiyuk, but the numbers are still there. You look numbers with Brandon Aiyuk, you look numbers with Justin Jefferson, and man, the Eagles stunk it up there. But we look at that 26th pick and we see the Packers take Jordan Love. Now, just a pick before that, we saw the 49ers take Brandon Aiyuk. So one pick away from potentially having a guy like Brandon Aiyuk to pair with Aaron Rodgers at the time, right? You go down the list. We see a guy by the name of Patrick Queen, a fantastic inside linebacker there and for the Ravens. And, Patrick Queen goes after him there. We look down the line there at other players down in round 2, and we see a guy by the name of Tee Higgins. The Bengals loaded up in this draft. You talk number 1 overall pick. They ended up with Joe Burrow. And then you look at the second round there, and you end up with a guy like Tee Higgins. That was, the Bengals won the draft. At that point, if you ask me, look down the line there. You end up with some other good pieces. Michael Pittman Jr. from he's from USC, but he's with the Colts there. And then you look down the line and you see other guys. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, that was your Wisconsin guy. Could have put him in the backfield kind of dealio there. DeAndre Swift's in there. Chase Claypool never really turned into anything, so I'm not going to – I haven't been a fan of Chase Claypool. But, I mean, just looking at, some of the guys that came after Jordan Love, if you could have gone back right now, you've seen what Jordan Love has been able to do as of now, right? Would you have gone back and made a different choice, right? Because if you were to pair, let's just say Tee Higgins, you gave Tee Higgins to Aaron Rodgers there with Davante Adams. Does that lead Green Bay to another Super Bowl, right? If you give them Patrick Queen on the defense, does that put that defense over the edge then and potentially in another Super Bowl? I mean, even you trade up, you get Brandon Aiyuk, you finagle moves, whatever it is. You trade up and you grab a different receiver in that draft, or you grab a running back, right? Does your perspective change? That's what I guess my biggest, if you could go back and redo that draft, would you still have grabbed Tee Higgins? Would you have grabbed a different wide receiver there like Michael Pittman, or even traded up for Brandon Aiyuk, and knowing what you know now? Or would you have stuck with your pick of Jordan Love? Because at the time, that was the worst thing that has ever happened. I mean, it was like Rashawn Gary on steroids. We heard, everybody was freaking out when the Packers drafted Rashawn Gary. Would you have been in that same boat? Were you in that same boat? I mean, is the big question. To me, right now, if I could go back, and that's the perspective you got to look at, is if you could go back knowing what you know now, would you have told the Packers, hey, Brandon Ayuk's going to turn into this, Tee Higgins is going to turn into this? Would you have done that? Or would you have said, Jordan Love's going to turn into possibly the next franchise quarterback? Don't miss out on this guy. He's going to be a big talent. He's going to be a big talent. And going into his second season as the starter in Green Bay, you're going to be throwing a big payday at this guy, and he's going to be the next big thing. Would you have done that? I thought it was an interesting topic of what you would do in that situation. To me, if I could go back, knowing what I know now, I would have stuck it with Jordan Love. Did it help the Packers right then and there? No. I don't believe so. It ticked off Aaron Rodgers, right? And ended up Aaron Rodgers won an MVP then. So I guess it did help the Packers in that turn, right? It just irritated him a little bit. But outside of that, did it help the Packers right then and there by adding a receiver for Aaron Rodgers? No. Did it add anybody to the defense to improve on that side of the ball? No. So in hindsight, could the Packers have gone to a Super Bowl if they had a guy like Tee Higgins, right? If they had a guy like Tee Higgins to pair up with Davante Adams, would that have propelled them into Super Bowl? That's an interesting topic right there. Because you look at a guy like Tee Higgins, and looking at his first season, this was, of course, with the Bengals, with Joe Burrow. But we look at Tee Higgins and just pulling up his stats there to see what he's been doing. You look back at the 2020 season, 908 yards and 6 touchdowns. Next season after that, 1,091 yards and 6 touchdowns. Year after that, 74 catches, 1,029 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Would that production have gone a little bit up with Aaron Rodgers? Would it have been the same? Would it have gone down? You'll never know. You'll never know because he was a big Davante Adams guy. But that is another potential number one wideout in the room with Davante Adams. Not a solidified number one, but a solid number two who has potential to be a number one. And I really do think that could have put him, over that edge. But knowing what I know now, drafting another franchise quarterback, that's crazy. That's crazy in its own right to be able to do that 3 times, right? 3 times there. And the Packers are on the cusp of doing it again once this deal with Jordan Love is done. And I'm thinking it's going to be coming up this week yet. I really do. I think it's going to be coming up this week. I heard something about Brian Gutekunst is going to have a long presser coming up on like Sunday or Monday there. So with that being said, I feel like there's going to be an announcement, made before that. And then we're going to hear more about it come Sunday and Monday. But knowing what I know now, I would take Jordan Love. Because just looking at that, knowing what we know, I feel like it works out. It works out better in the long term for the Packers. I really think it does. I mean, looking after that in that draft and seeing some of the guys that were drafted were available in that draft. I mean, yeah. In hindsight, at that point, it was different, but now looking at it, if looking back, would I change the pick knowing what I know? I don't think so. Like I said, drafting the franchise quarterback, that's always the way to go. You're talking about a guy with, years upon years of control at the most important position, not just in football, but in all of sports, right? And the quarterback's the most important position. So you got to lock that position up there. Getting a wide receiver and then losing Aaron Rodgers, and then you're stuck with who knows who. After that, maybe the Packers draft a different quarterback along the way. Probably, right? But now you have the solid quarterback that you're about to give a pretty good payday, and then some good receivers around him. Nothing crazy, but good receivers around him that Jordan Love makes and helps get better each and every day. So, I mean, that's my answer to that question. But I'd love to hear your answer down in the bio of this show. You can find this, send us a text message. I'd love to hear your answer to that question of, if you could go back and change it, would you draft Tee Higgins, Brandon Aiyuk, or others over Jordan Love, knowing what you know now? I would love to hear it there. So with that, I want to get to the fantastic sponsors of the show here quick before we move on with this one. First, Game Day Supply in Alaska. Do you have a sports club or team? Are you looking for some sweet custom uniforms or apparel? Check out the awesome crew at Game Day Supply in Alaska to help your team get the sweetest gear. Find them on Facebook at Game Day Supply or online at GameDaySupply.net. Also, Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. If you've been injured recently, whether at work, whether you're playing with kids, whatever it was, and you got injured, you felt something pop, tear, whatever it was, you went to the doctor said you should go see a physical therapist, stop in there and see Chad at Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. He'll get you right. He'll get you back to work, back playing with kids, back doing whatever you were doing and feeling better than ever. Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. Sports Scene, sports cards, and memorabilia. Located in the Marshfield Mall in Marshfield, Wisconsin. Get down there and see Al. He has everything you need, from sporting cards to memorabilia, jerseys, model stock cars. He's got it all. Sports Scene in Marshfield. Marshfield Motor Speedway is located just 3 miles outside of Marshfield on County Road H. Get down there this summer. Tons of family fun for all ages. Great food, great drinks, great atmosphere. Nothing better than a great summer day or night down there at the track. Marshfield Motor Speedway's there. Pittsville Farm and Home Center. At the store, they serve you anything from hydraulic hoses to red roses. Stop in and see the awesome crew at Pittsville Farm and Home Center in Pittsville, Wisconsin. And also your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty. Call Peggy Sue or Anna to find your dream home, or if you're looking to sell. Find them on Facebook at your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty, or stop in and see them at their location in Marshfield, Wisconsin there. But with that, I got a new segment, a new thought. What the things that I'm sick of hearing about this week, the things that I am just irritated about hearing, and, I figured this would be a good thing. It's time for me to, kind of like decompress out there and, maybe blow a gasket or two or something. I don't know. Maybe that'll be the case. I don't know. The number one and the biggest thing that is irritating me every single day is when I have to go on social media and I get to ESPN or SportsCenter or whatever it is. And, you go through and you're looking at ESPN, the apps through your Instagram or Twitter or anything like that. And you're expecting to see, the Summer League game or a guy threw the hammer down or something about baseball or something about boxing or soccer or hockey or, whatever. sports. When I have to go through and all I see is Paul Skeens and Livvy Dunne, oh my goodness, does it drive me up a wall. Up a wall. It is annoying. It is beyond. This is like everybody out there who is annoyed by Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey. This is that again. This is that again. I don't care. I don't care at all about Paul Skeens and Livvy Dunne. I care about Paul Skeens as a pitcher. I love baseball. Paul Skeens is a amazing talent. He is this international talent now. He is this American talent now, right? He is this great talent for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And as much as I don't like the Pirates, I'm a Brewer fan. As much as I don't like the Pirates, as much as I don't care about the Pirates, I will acknowledge that he is an outstanding pitcher. What I don't care about is Paul Skeens and Livvy Dunne are loading on an airplane to go to the All-Star game. Fantastic. Christian Yelich was on an airplane. William Contreras was on an airplane. I don't know. Let's look at all the All-Stars. Freddie Freeman, he was on an airplane most likely. He didn't drive. Shohei Ohtani, probably on an airplane. Holy crap. Everybody got an airplane again. But we got to hear about this. We got to see pictures. Oh my goodness. Pictures upon pictures. Oh, look, they're walking across the red carpet. What's the one that ESPN posts? Right there. What's the interview that we have to hear on ESPN and SportsCenter? Right there. I don't care. I don't care. Oh, can Livvy Dunne hold on to a good... How do you throw a fastball? What do you want to know? A four-seamer? Or what do you want to know? I don't care if she knows how to hold a four-seam fast. I don't care. None of this matters to me. It irritates me when I have to go through social media, and if I follow Livvy Dunne or if I followed Paul Skeens on any social media platform and I saw a picture of them, okay, I get it. If I saw a picture of them on SportsCenter or something once in a blue moon, fantastic. But you know what? I got to see it all the time. I got to see it all the time. I don't care to hear an interview with Olivia Dunne every time Paul Skeens pitches. Irritates me. Don't care. Don't care. So that is my number one. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing about it. I'm sick of seeing it. I just don't care about it. I just don't care about it. I care about Paul Skeens. That's it. Livvy Dunne, if she's in gymnastics and she does something crazy, fantastic. Right? Then SportsCenter can go crazy all over it. Go crazy about it. But until then, I don't care. It's like Serena Williams coming out and talking about Harrison Butker during the ESPYs. Shut up. That was my number two. Things that I'm sick of. Things that I'm sick of is hearing about this Harrison Butker thing. You know what I got to say to that? No matter what you believe, no matter what you believe out there, Harrison Butker said what he said. That's it. Plain and simple. Nobody cares, right? Maybe you do. Maybe I do. Maybe you do. Whoever cares, cares. Whoever doesn't care, doesn't care. But to have to constantly be bringing it up, you know what? If you're that bothered by it, he's living in your head, right? Honestly, get over it. He said it. Those were his words. He didn't say anything out of context to what he believes. Great for Harrison Butker to be able to go up there at a Catholic school and announce something that he believes, being a Catholic. Wonderful. If you want to take exception to that, that's fine. But don't get upset at the people who took exception to athletes kneeling for the flag, kneeling for the national anthem. A lot of people took exception to that, but if you did, you were in the wrong, right? You were in the wrong because you weren't believing what somebody else believed, right? Sick of it. Sick of hearing about it. Harrison Butker said what he said. We move on. We move on. You might agree with him. You might disagree. You might be in the middle. Whatever. Words are words. You can say what you want. That's what the great part about this country is, right? Words are words, and you say what you want to say. So, there's my number two. Serena Williams, shut up. Shut up. Don't care. Don't care. Doesn't need to be a part of the ESPYs. Doesn't need to be part of the ESPYs. That's for darn sure. So, just get out of here. Go retire and be gone. Like, had enough. Had enough of that. Number three. Bronny James banter talk. I tell you what, when Bronny James was drafted, and I had to hear about it, and I had to discuss it, and I had to think about it, I wasn't a fan of it. Be honest with you. Bronny James stunk at USC. If anybody can say, realistically, looking at Bronny James at USC, and you can say to yourself, yeah, Bronny had a good college career. He had a good college career. Yeah. No, he didn't. He stunk. He stunk it up. That's just plain and simple. He stunk. But, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care to see his stat line every single night, right? He might have 0 points. He might score 2 points. I don't care, right? I don't scroll through SportsCenter to see everybody's terrible nights. I don't scroll through ESPN and see the media guys all just saying, well, look at Bronny James with 0 points and three steals and 3 rebounds, and that was it on the night. Like, I don't care. No cares about that, right? Just let the dude be the dude. It's the Lakers' problem now. It's not our problem. We don't care. We made our opinions voiced, right? Everybody voiced their opinion on a situation. Now we're just redoing it every single time we hear about Bronny James. Who cares? It's JJ Redick's problem. It's LeBron James's problem. It's Bronny's problem. It's the Lakers' problem. It's not our problem. I don't care. I don't care to hear about it anymore. I'll be honest with you. If the dude ends up being an NBA talent, fantastic. Do I think he's going to be? Probably not. Be honest with you, probably not. I don't think he's going to be a high-end talent. I really don't. Maybe a bench guy. That's as far as I see him. So, however you see Bronny James, that's perfectly fine, but I'm sick of hearing about it. Sick of hearing the banter. Just let the dude be the dude. Let Bronny James go be Bronny James, and if he ends up being a stinker, that's fine. If he ends up being like a Thanasis Antetokounmpo on the Lakers, that's fine. If that's what it takes. My last thing, and I feel like this irritates me every week, Bears fans. They signed Caleb Williams to this contract, right? And now it's, the Bears making the biggest move. The Bears doing this. The Bears run the NFC North now. Bears. I'm hearing about it all over social media. Everybody's saying how the Bears are going to win the division. The Bears are the top team. The Bears might be the best team in the NFC. I'm going to tell you this now. If Caleb Williams stinks, it's going to be that much better now. Because you look at this Bears roster. I mean, the receiver room with Keenan Allen and Adunze coming in and Swift in the backfield and the defense they have. If they find a way to ruin Caleb Williams to make him just, if he stinks, what do you say then? Because he might be, he might be the number one drafted quarterback to walk in a room with a loaded roster. Joe Burrow didn't walk into a loaded roster, right? You could go back through time and look at number one picks. They didn't walk into a loaded roster. Caleb Williams is. As long as these receivers stay healthy, Caleb Williams is walking into a loaded roster. The offensive line might not be great, but they have talent across the board. If he finds a way to stink, if he stinks on his own, if the Bears stink it up and ruin him, man, oh man, that is going to be fun. That is going to be fun. Now, I don't pray on anybody to suck. I pray on the Bears to suck. So I guess I do. I pray on the Bears to suck and the Cubs. I think it's just a Chicago thing. So, like, Chicago, But I don't, looking at this Bears team, there's a lot of talent there. I'm not going to deny it. There's a lot of talent. But until it's proven, it's just annoying, right? I mean, you could load up the roster with anybody you want. If Eberflus is a bad coach, I hope people realize that. If Eberflus ruins it, what do you do then? I mean, it comes down to coaching too. You can have all the talent in the world, but sometimes it comes down to coaching. So, I guess it's not as much as the Caleb Williams getting signed. I guess it's not as much as Caleb Williams and the Bears. It is more or less just the fans of the Bears. Just hearing about it. It is annoying. Like, son of a gun. I get it. Great. You got Caleb Williams. Woohoo. Let's throw a party. We actually did something. Maybe we might get out of the cellar. Maybe we might make it back to the NFC Championship. Maybe we might beat the Packers. Been struggling to do that, haven't you? Maybe we beat the Packers first, then we talk, right? And if you beat the Packers, so be it. So be it. We move on with life, right? We move on with life. We'll be ticked off. We'll come up with reasons why we lost, just like every team will. But we move on with life, right? Man, oh man, the Bears fans just get to me. They get to me. They annoy me. They just drive me up a wall sometimes. They drive me up a wall. So that was the things that have irritated or made me sick this week. Just I'm sick of hearing about. And actually, it was only supposed to be 3 things, but I brought up that Harrison Butker thing, and that was driving me nuts too, because I saw that speech by Serena at the, not speech, but I saw her make a comment at the ESPYs, and it drove me nuts. It drove me nuts. It really did. So, with that, getting away from things that made me sick and tired of hearing about this week, I want to get into some Brewer talk. We got to get to the Brewers. We got to get to our part 2. Part 2 is the pitching staff for the Brewers and how these guys have been faring, how the Brewers pitchers have been looking, and, are we going to say that the Brewers pitching staff has been phenomenal? No, I don't think so. I don't think I can say that. Looking at their statistics on the season, let's look at the stats. Let's look at the stats here for this Brewers pitching staff. Team rankings right now. And according to the team rankings right now, they are 3rd in saves, 32 saves. And earned runs, they're 10th. 7th in runs scored. 26th in home runs given up. That's a big number to look at right there. That is a big number to look at right there. And the biggest problem for the Milwaukee Brewers in that pitching staff is the home run ball. 116 bombs given up. They don't put guys on a lot. They just give up home runs. That's the biggest thing. No matter if it's Freddie, Colin Ray, Bryce Wilson, Hobie Milner, Yoel Payams. I mean, I could keep going through a number of pitchers here. The thing that eats them alive, and I don't know why so much, mistake pitches, is the home run ball. It just tears them apart. Walks and home runs. Walks, they're 17th in the league. Home runs, they're 26th in the league. That is close to dead last in giving up bombs. Man, that eats you alive. Eats you alive when you see that stat. Because you're like, well, hits, giving up hits, they're 15th, so they're middle of the pack. So it's not just guys single, right? They've been beat that way, a couple times, but it's not that. It's the home run ball. It seems like when teams score against the Brewers, they're hitting bombs. It's usually in about a matter of an inning or two, too. It's not like the Brewers are giving up sporadic runs all game long. It seems like it's like Freddie Peralta. One blow-up inning. I've always said it. If Freddie Peralta could avoid the blow-up inning, Freddie Peralta would be for sure, in my head, a number 1 pitcher in a rotation. Because Freddie's got good stuff. He's got good stuff. This season he's been struggling, but outside of that, he has good stuff. Why does it change, though? Why did that change? That's number 1. That's number 1 on my list of guys to look at here today. Freddie Peralta. Fastball Freddie. Freddie coming into this year, he was I'm not going to say he was an ace. He had the makings to be an ace, I thought, but he wasn't an ace. He always had Burns, he had Woodruff in front of him. You look at his ERA last season there, 3.86 in 30 starts. He had 30 starts in the year. He had a 3.86 ERA. Looking at his 2022 stats, in 18 games, 17 starts there, he had a 3.58 ERA there. 27 starts a year before that in 2021, he had a 2.81 ERA. So Freddie Peralta has consistently had good stuff. Here's where the troubling thing comes in for Freddie. And it all comes down to a location with that fastball where he thinks he can just overpower. Where he thinks he can just overpower a guy. Leave it right down the pipe. Let's overpower him. Location. Doesn't matter if it's his breaking stuff. Doesn't matter if it's his fastball. Location has continuously been a problem for Freddie. Not just this season. Look at last season there. 2023. In 30 starts. he gave up 26 home runs. Put that into perspective, that's almost a home run a start, right? That's a lot of home runs given up there. That's a lot of home runs. You look at this season, 14 home runs given up already. 12 short of his pace from last year there. Does that make you nervous? Does that make you nervous that fastball Freddie is starting to lose some of that, a little bit of that edge? For me, I think Freddie can be, I think Freddie's fine. I think he can be fine. I think he's got to relax. You know, is it kind of a mental thing, a pressure thing that he put on himself? When Burns was traded, when he knew Woodruff was down, now he's got to be the ace of the staff. Was it a pressure thing that is affecting Freddie Peralta so much right now? Because, I mean, you look at his starts of the year and innings that he's gone. I mean, you're talking about a guy who in the month of June and July, his longest outing was 7 innings against the Cubs. He had a 6-inning appearance against the Angels. But outside of that, he went 5 innings against the White Sox. Against the Tigers, he went 3 1/3. Against the Reds, he went 5 1/3. Against the Texas Rangers, he went 5. The Dodgers, he went 4. And the Nationals, he went 5 innings. In each one of those outings there, Nationals, 4 runs given up there, 3 against the Dodgers, 2 against the Rangers there. And then looking back against the Reds there, 6 earned runs against the Reds, 3 against the Detroit Tigers there. And then the White Sox, he gave up 3 runs. What is it? What is it with Freddie that just is, something ain't right? And I think a lot of it has to do with location. I really do. I think a lot of it's leaving things over the plate for Freddie Peralta. And walks. I mean, you look at Freddie Peralta in the walk department this season, and he's walked 36 batters on the year. That leads the team. That leads the entire starting pitching staff and everything. You're talking about guys like Bryce Wilson. Colin Ray's got 31, so another problem. Walks. Colin Ray, 31. Freddie Peralta, 38. Or 36. My mistake there. 36. And then Freddie with 8 hit by pitches on the year there. 14 home runs given up, like I said. I mean, man, it makes you nervous for the second half for Freddie. What Freddie's coming out? I mean, you're talking about a guy with a 4.11 ERA right now. That ain't good. That ain't good. I mean, you're talking about a guy, you know, I always imagine the ace of my staff being the guy when the going's tough, the bullpen's taxed, the ace of my staff is supposed to be that guy to give him that little bit of a day off, right? Give him that little bit of a breather there where they have, you know, the ability to, maybe we just have to use a couple guys in the bullpen. We don't have to stretch it real long game. Freddie's not giving you that right now. There's only one guy who's giving you that kind of stuff at the moment consistently, and that is Tobias Myers. Tobias Myers has been nothing short of fantastic here in this first half of the year. I mean, if you look at Tobias Myers to start the campaign, to start the season when he first came up, if you asked me at that point, I was telling you, I don't know if this guy's ready to be a big league pitcher. I don't know if he's ready to go yet. That changed, and that changed fast for Tobias Myers. I mean, you talk about a guy who was going through the month of May. He had a 5.40 ERA. Then all of a sudden, that start against Detroit there, that was in May. On June 7th, he had a start against Detroit where he went 8 innings of one-hit baseball. After that, everything, he just found it. He just found his stride. Had a couple of rough outings there. Got through 6 innings against the Cubs, 6 innings against the Rockies. Gave up 7 runs between those 2 games. But you look at the rest of the schedule there. Got that ERA all the way down to 3.13 heading into this second half. The only rookie to go 8 innings, and I mean, he's done it multiple times. He's averaging above 5 innings per game for him there. His shortest outing was in the month of June to July. His shortest outing was 5 innings against the Padres. Outside of that, he's 6 innings and above. He's 6 innings and above. That's good work. especially out of a young guy when you're looking for stability in a rotation and you find it in a guy like Tobias Myers. That's great. That's great. That's better than what you could have expected. Better than what you could have asked for out of Tobias Myers. Something that I did not expect whatsoever, and we found it there in Tobias Myers. So I love that. I love that out of Tobias Myers there. Bryce Wilson, I mean, I'm glad he's back in the bullpen. I thought he was a better bullpen pitcher than a starter. Colin Ray's been solid. He's been solid. He's not dominant. That 3.77 ERA, that's okay with me. That's okay with me. Two guys that make me nervous, though, getting to the bullpen. Two guys that make me nervous, Hobie Milner and Yoel Payamps. Both of them with ERAs shooting north of 4. Yoel with the ERA of 4.41 and Hobie Milner with that 4.91. Hobie's giving up 5 home runs. Yoel Payamps is giving up 6. Looking at earned runs, 17 for Payamps there and 24 for Milner on the season. A lot of it, those two is the same thing as I'm talking about with Freddie. Location is huge for those two. The Brewers need them. The Brewers need one of those two guys. I don't care which one it is. Preferably Hobie Milner because he's a lefty. But outside of that, they need one of those two guys. If both of them figure it out, fantastic, because then the bullpen gets even deeper. But outside of that, they need one of those two guys to start to figure it out there and try and bolster up this bullpen there from the inside so the Brewers don't have to focus on looking for bullpen pieces come trade deadline time. The guys that have been unsung heroes for the Brewers in the first half in that bullpen, Brian Hudson, 1.49 ERA, 53 strikeouts, 48 innings, 24 hits given up, only 8 runs given up on the year, 6 home runs. So you see where a lot of those runs coming from him also. It's the home run ball that bites this team. I don't know what it is, but it's all of them. It's all of them throughout there. He's been fantastic. Jared Koenig, fantastic. Also 1.66 ERA, 36 strikeouts in 38 innings. Those 11 walks with 3 home runs given up, 8 runs in total on the year, 7 of them earned. I mean, Jared Koenig's been fantastic. You just need him to come back from injury and do that same thing. And this is a great long reliever for the Brewers. Great long reliever there in Jared Koenig. Also, I mean, looking down the bullpen depth, Trevor McGill has been nothing but fantastic for the Brewers, being in the role that he's in. Was kind of just forced into a closer's role. Wasn't really ready for it. I shouldn't say wasn't ready for it. Wasn't expecting it. Heading into the last off season into early spring, wasn't expecting, and then all of a sudden Devin Williams, bam, going on the IL, going to be out for an extended period of time. Okay, now we have a closed by committee, Uribe and Payamps and Trevor McGill, and then all of a sudden Uribe's gotten issues. So then we flip to Trevor McGill, and McGill has done fantastic closing down games. 2.05 ERA, 30 innings, and 37 strikeouts. Nothing short of fantastic for McGill there in that bullpen. Other guys that have contributed in the first half there, Jacob Junis coming back from injury, 2.84 ERA in 19 innings. He's got 16 strikeouts, 15 hits, 600 runs, 3 home runs. Dallas Keuchel gets DFA'd. Was okay for the Brewers before that. Nothing crazy, nothing dominant. But, I mean, can't leave him out of the contributor talk, I guess. Aaron Savali, 3.97 ERA he's got 14 strikeouts for the Brewers there in those 11 innings, 11 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 home runs given up for Savali, so we know where the problems are going to lie there for him. Guys that the Brewers are hoping to get back here, DL Hall, hoping to get him back soon, possibly for a bullpen role. We don't know on Enoli Paredes when we're going to see him back. This is a guy that the Brewers loved in their bullpen. He was pitching fantastic, pitched fantastic in the minors, pitched fantastic in the majors, got injured. No timetable has been set for Paredes, but looking at the injury to I believe it was his elbow or forearm. So it could be a little bit there with Paredes before he comes back. But you're getting Devin Williams back here, hopefully close to or right after the All-Star break there. And then DL Hall coming back. Also, Joe Ross potentially coming back at some point there. That's just going to add depth in that starting rotation. A guy who was solid for the Brewers before going on the injured list. Nothing crazy with that 4.50 ERA, 35 strikeouts, 42 innings 4 home runs given up there, but another arm is all you can ask for with Joe Ross there. So, I mean, the cavalry, looking at it as a whole, the cavalry's on its way. I mean, you're going to have Devin Williams coming back, D.L. Hall, Joe Ross, Jared Cannon, Gary Sanchez, all coming off. I'm really hoping that we hear some good news out of Paredes, and he potentially comes back there. But good news for the Brewers is guys coming back from the injury report. That is going to definitely bolster up this team. Maybe that steers them in different directions when it comes trade deadline time. You know, instead of focusing on bullpen arms and starters, they can focus on just starters, right? Maybe they can focus. Do they need another bat? I don't know. I guess it depends on your outlook of things. I mean, it's definitely going to be something. I'm going to get to. We're running a little bit long today here in part 2 of the Brewers' first half recap. We're going to get into the trade deadline tomorrow. Some of the moves I believe the Brewers could potentially make, who might be on the trade block, stuff like that with the Brewers, and, you know, get into that a little bit there. But, I mean, 3-7, leading into the break there, is that a concern for the Brewers? I mean, it was a concern when I heard it was a mental issue for the Brewers leading into the break. They're just mentally drained. I mean, okay, yeah, they might have been, but doesn't that make you nervous for the end of the season there? That's going to be my number one topic coming into tomorrow. Also talking about trade deadline topics and everything like that. Who the Brewers could be looking at, who could potentially be on the trade block for the Brewers. Maybe some surprises, maybe some not so surprises, stuff like that coming up here tomorrow on the show there. But with that, that's about all I got for today. Fantastic day. Great day to talk sports. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode there. If you did, I want you guys to be able to let me know. If you're on iTunes or if you're on Apple Podcasts, if you're on Spotify, YouTube, whatever it is, go into the review section there. Give it a rating. Give it a review. Go to, like I said earlier, the bio. Send us a text message. Click that link. It'll take you to a text line. You'll be able to send us a message directly. Let us know your thoughts on anything we talked about today and stuff like that along those lines. But definitely rate, review, subscribe. You know, let us know. I love to hear from you guys. I love to get opinions and everything like that. And just continue to improve. Continue to improve every day and every episode with this. So with that, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Thursday. But until I talk to you guys again tomorrow, deuces.
Yeah, oh my Lord, watch me sway. Darkness falls and we all pray, hoping for the light of day. Down to the river, I have held the devil's hand, felt the weight of my own sin, burdened by the heart of man. Down to the river, down to the river.